guys, so I am finally here to do my Q&A. I had posted it. If you see me looking over, I'm looking at my laptop here. I had posted the Q&A question like the middle of August, and I meant to get to it last week. Of course, me and my family were on vacation last week, so I'm here to do it today. I can't promise you this is going to go smooth. Both of my kids are awake. Both of them are home. So we're going to do our best. But I'm going to get started. Like I said, if you see me looking over, I'm just looking at my questions. There was a question on my What I Ate video from yesterday, from Saturday. Today is Sunday, the September 4th. So I'm going to do that one, and then I'm going to move back to the Q&A questions that are on my Q&A video. So just one moment. Okay, so the first question I'm going to read is from Terry Dunn. Hi, Terry. Terry has been following me for quite a while. She is very supportive, very encouraging, so thank you, Terry. Her question, it says, if you are still taking questions, I'm so curious about your nails. I can't get over how they are glue-on. Does it take a long time to do them and make them look so perfect? How long do they last, and how do you take them off? Also, do they make marks or damage your nails? That's her first question. So basically, before I had kids, I always had my nails professionally done, gel nails. I have really soft nail beds, and my real nails don't grow. They get just to the end of the quick, or whatever you want to call it, and they just crack and break, and they just don't grow. So I've always felt really self-conscious about my hands. So when I had my first baby, I stopped doing it because I was a first-time mom. I didn't want to hurt him or scratch him. And once he got a little bit older, I started going back to have them done. It was kind of my time away every 2 weeks. At that point, I was back to part-time working. And then as I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, and as her birth approached, I had them taken off. And I never really went back to having them professionally done. I don't work. I stay at home with our kids. And we have kind of had to cut corners everywhere to make it so that I am able to stay home with my kids. And that was just one thing that I felt was a silly thing to spend money on, just because I'm not out in the public. So I was paying all this money to do my nails for myself, basically, which is wonderful. And I think that everyone should have something they do for themselves. But I chose different things than to go out. I bought a brand new pair of sneakers. I did a couple 5Ks that costed me money, and just trying to keep costs low. Plus, I really don't have the time to go every 2 weeks and have them filled, and I'm a busy mom, and it just wasn't realistic. So now when I'm out and about and I see them on sale or whatever, I just pick them up. Today I have just a simple white tipped set. They're actually the ones I bought to wear on vacation. So these were a little bit more expensive than ones I would normally buy. These are by Pretty Woman, and they have like little embellishments. There were only 2 that had embellishments, and they were my thumbs, and within the first day the little embellishments fell off, but that's okay. So no matter what glue the nails themselves come with, I stick with the Nailene Quick Dry Ultra Quick Nail. This is the one I find, I'm sorry, I can't get it. Anyways, I always use the same glue because I find that it does not damage my nails, Terry. Depending on the brand, there are some brands that are better than others. I actually have the best luck with this brand, the LA Colors. This is a new find for me. I get them at my Family Dollar. There's only 12 pieces in a pack, so I always make sure that I buy 2 because I have several fingers that are basically the same size. So I always pick up 2 packs, so it's only $2. And that way I can do all of my nails and still have a couple extra to play with. I do use the ones that you can get at the Dollar Tree. Most of them are smaller, and my fingers tend to be really small. So I have to buy like the short nails, otherwise they're too long and they're all too big. But the same thing, these only have 12 pieces in them. So I usually buy 2 of the same style so that I have enough to go through all my fingers. Not this specific cut, but this is my favorite brand to actually use, the Nailene, just like the glue. I find I can get, even with being in and out of the dish pan all day and baths and things like that for my kids, I can get a good week to 10 days out of these, give or take. I always have, you know, several that'll pop off or they'll get loose and I'll take them off and glue them. Throughout that week to 10 days, if I have to, I can replace 1 or 2 of the nails if they fall off and they're kind of rough around the edges, or say they were partially colored, if any of the color comes off or anything like that. But I just pick them up along the way when I find them on sale. But this is actually what I have. These are just the active length. They're the square cut. I keep them all in here. These are the plain color. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, the plain, this is what I do when I can't find any that I like or whatever. I just put them on and paint them to my liking. So that is it on the question about the nails. I'm going to try to speak a little faster from now on. She also asks, is your new house your mom's house before they moved into their apartment? Yes, Terry. This is a huge 12-room house. The little apartment that my parents built was kind of already an add-on to this house when my sister, who is 10 years younger than I am, when she lived here, that was kind of her little section of the house. It was just basically a downstairs and then a little loft upstairs. And what they did was they finished the loft to make a full room upstairs. And then they took 1 room from the main part of the house, which was their dining room. They changed the dining room into their kitchen. And then basically the downstairs area in their little apartment is their living room, and they added a bathroom. We have a go-between, which is a laundry room. We share a washer and dryer, and there's doors at both ends. So it's kind of our breezeway to their side or our side. So now we have the kitchen, which we're in now, a big living room, a toy room, and then we have 2 bedrooms and a bathroom upstairs. So this was my parents' house. They lived in the whole house, and they kind of moved over to one side so that we could live here. So now I'm going to switch back to the question and answer video that I had posted. So the first question on this is from Jess from Weight Watchers Journey to Healthy. She asked, if you had to choose to live with one of your senses without one of your 5 senses, which one would you give up? Believe it or not, I think I would give up sight. I'm a very audible person. If you knew me in real life, when I'm trying to pay attention to something, I close my eyes, I like to listen. That's kind of how I learn. When I was in school, I had to like put everything on a tape recorder and listen to it back. It's how I learned the best. And I already know how beautiful this world is, so I think I would be okay giving Build Your Home asks, what is your why for staying on plan? Also, if you go off track and binge, what helps you the most, and what do you tell yourself to get back on track? I'm going to answer the end part of that first. I've had many times when I go off plan. I'm not necessarily sure there is an off plan with Weight Watchers. I really haven't had many times on this program where I haven't tracked. I know that this is a life journey for me. I am going to have to, in one way or the other, do this Weight Watchers tracking the rest of my life. Journey is a journey. It's a long period of time, and I know there are going to be good days, and I know there are going to be bad days. When I have a bad day or when I feel like just pigging out, I do, and I get it out of my system, and I wake up the next morning and I get right back to it. So that kind of brings me to my why. I have chronic asthma, and I have been sick my entire life. I've spent a lot of time of my life in the hospital. When I was a child, I didn't get to go outside and play with my friends. I spent 6 days in the ICU about a year and a half ago, not this past October, but the October before that. My daughter was only 4 months old and my son was 2.5, and I caught an infection in my lungs, and I got so sick that my husband and my grandmother, I called my grandmother to come and get me because I didn't want my kids to have to go with me to the emergency room. So my husband was going to stay home with them. And my grandmother was so worried that she wouldn't get to me in time because she lives at that point about 25 minutes away, that she called the ambulance. The ambulance came to my house while my kids were watching and loaded me up and took me away. And I spent 6 days away from my kids in the ICU, basically fighting for my life. It was scary, and it was the first time in my adult life that I stood up for myself. I had had the same doctor my entire life. He was not a doctor who was ready to just change things up and try new things. He would always tell me, oh, well, we don't really need to try that because what you're doing is working. It was never working, it was maintaining. So after I got out of the hospital, I took on the doctor that had taken care of me in the hospital. He is an amazing man. He and I worked together to find new medicines that made my life normal. After that, I didn't have an excuse anymore. I couldn't say, oh, well, I can't go and play with my kids because I can't breathe, or all of a sudden I just felt so much better that I wanted to be able to play with my kids. I wanted to be able to be healthy and have fun, and I want to grow old with my husband, and I want to see my grandkids grow up. And I didn't have an excuse anymore. So the only logical step for me was, now that I needed to get healthy. So that is my why. My kids and my life is my why. I'd never been able to take care of myself this way before. I couldn't exercise. I couldn't do anything because I would get out of breath and pass out. So that is my why. I have a subscriber. Her name is Enza. She asks, how does your family feel about you doing videos on YouTube? Do any of your family members subscribe to your channel? YouTube, my family knows about my YouTube. I tend to only film when I'm by myself. It's something that I kind of keep for myself, not because I'm embarrassed or not because they don't approve, because my husband is very supportive of it and my family is. It's just something that I want to keep for myself. When I first started watching YouTube videos, I had shared a few videos with recipes in them with my grandmother. So one day she was sitting at home and got onto YouTube, and one of her suggested videos was one of my videos. So she spent all day watching my videos and subscribed to my channel. So my grandmother is my subscriber, and I have 2 or maybe 3 friends who are also doing Weight Watchers, who are my friends in real life, who live nearby, and they are my subscribers. Other than that, it's something that I kind of keep to myself. Not for any specific reason, just because I like it to be just mine. So, Kim from Finn Fabulous Mamas asks, what is your favorite guilty pleasure? Food, TV, etc. Guilty pleasure. I don't get a chance very often, but I love to just sit and watch TV. I don't get to do it very often. I am a binge watcher. I love to find a series on Netflix or Hulu and watch the whole thing in a weekend. I think now, though, my biggest guilty pleasure is grocery shopping. It's something that I love to do. I could spend hours and hours grocery shopping. I love reading labels and comparing ingredients and things like that. So I think grocery shopping is my guilty pleasure. It's one of my favorite activities in the whole world. Lainey's Life asks, how active are you and how many days do you work out? That kind of varies from week to week. I'll be right back. Okay, so that kind of varies from week to week, from day to day. I've definitely had more active time than I am right now. It's just a time issue right now. My husband has been working extra lately. Just a minute, okay? Which means that anything I want to do, here, let me open it. Anything I want to do, I need to do with my kids. We walk 2 to 3 miles, at least 2 to 3 times a week, my kids and I do. And I try to get at least one walk/jog in a week that is just me. I put my headphones on and I put my sneakers on and I just like to take a good jog. So, but I'm very active. I don't sit down most days unless I'm eating a meal. My kids and I play outside a lot. On our family days lately, we've been doing a lot of hiking and kayaking. So I'm a pretty active person. I usually get always 10, but between 10 and 17,000 steps a day. So I'm pretty active. Rockin' Miss Beth says, how does your family feel about you being on Weight Watchers? I live with my daughter and family, and sometimes I feel bad because weighing my food slows down dinner. My family is super supportive. My kids are great eaters. They love fruits and vegetables and all things healthy because it's kind of the only thing they've ever known. And lucky for us, not because he's not supportive, but my husband is only home 3 nights a week for supper. The rest of the time we eat, and he doesn't eat until 9 or 10 o'clock at night when he gets home. So I have the luxury of fixing things that I like to eat, and then I either modify them or make him something completely different. Or there are days when I call him and say, you know what, the kids and I had an easy dinner. You may want to bring something home, and he'll do that, and he is just fine with that. Beth, please don't feel like you weighing your food is a burden. If your family loves you and supports you, then they understand that that's part of your journey. And if you sit down a little bit later than they do, that's okay. But you need to do this for you. So that's my advice there. Monica Walker asks, how did you stay on track during your plateau? It was really tough. I think the number one thing I had was support and encouragement, not only from this community, But there are a bunch of us who have YouTube channels who get together on a Facebook group, and we have lots of support, conversation. We do challenges, activity challenges. We share recipes. We share good days and bad days, and the support has been overwhelming. When I was having a bad day or a bad week or no loss or a gain, the support that I got there and the support that I got from all of you kept me going. It kept me wanting to push and push and push and keep trying. And I think the second thing that really, really helped me was when I hit my plateau, maybe after a couple of weeks, I started doing measurements myself. It's not something I shared a lot. I share my weight, and I feel like that's private enough that I kept the measurements for myself. But it was showing me that even though I was not seeing results on the scale, my body was changing. My body was getting smaller. My clothes were fitting differently. So that really, really helped. Delphina asks me, "Hi, what is the tattoo on your arm?" I am covered in tattoos. I have 14 or 15 of them. Right out of high school, one of my closest friends was a tattoo artist, so I spent a lot of time getting tattoos. Some of them, not my favorite. But the one on my arm, I should have worn a different shirt, I got earlier this year. It is a cover-up. I had a star on the inside of my wrist that my best friend and I got, and of course, I think that's the mark of a ruined relationship when you get someone other than your mother or your children's names on your body or do a tattoo with them. It's a death sentence. She and I are no longer friends. It was not my choice to not be friends anymore. And for a lot of years, I've been looking at this tattoo and I was unhappy. And since I became a mom, I've wanted to get a tattoo for my kids. But I didn't want the name, and I didn't have a good enough picture of like footprints or handprints that I wanted to do. So I am a peacock lover. I love peacocks. So I got 2 peacock feathers. I have a pink and purple one here for my daughter. And I'll give you a close-up of that one. And then the blue one we did darker because part of it is over the star, which you can still see, and I'm okay with that. It's a part of my past and it's a part of who I am. But the blue one is for my son. So it is 2 peacock feathers for my kids. Tara Bunville asks, "How did you and your husband meet?" My husband and I met at work. We worked for the same company, and technically he was my boss. He was a kitchen manager at the restaurant that I worked at. We worked together for about 7 years before we started dating and got married. The company that he works for now is the same company. We moved to a different restaurant, a new restaurant when it opened. We actually moved up and worked through the opening process, and shortly after the restaurant opened, I found out I was pregnant with my son. So I worked through most of my pregnancy, and then I took 3 weeks off, I think, and I went back part-time. And then I was 30 weeks pregnant with my daughter, and I went into preterm labor and spent the night in the hospital with contractions. And after that, even though the doctor said it was okay, my husband would not let me go back to work, and I have not worked since. So we met at work. And actually it's funny because most places have a no fraternization policy for their workers, but I would say 80% of the staff that worked in this restaurant company were married to someone else that worked there. When you work in the restaurant business, you work such long and tedious hours that they're the only people that you see. You don't get to meet people anywhere else because you're always at work. So that is where we met. Happy in NJ says, how do you handle the holidays? Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that Halloween candy that the kids bring home. Do you stay on track or just forget about Weight Watchers for the day? And what has been your biggest motivation to lose weight? Well, we've already discussed the motivation. That is definitely my kids.
Mom, can I eat some of those?
Holidays are hard, and I have been on Weight Watchers through Thanksgiving and Christmas last year, Easter this year, Halloween. We don't really celebrate Halloween in our house. We never did in my family because my mom was very religious. My kids are still so little that I've never taken them trick-or-treating, so the candy isn't a big deal. And I am not, my trigger foods are salty foods. So Halloween isn't a big deal. And Thanksgiving last year was my first holiday on Weight Watchers, and I wasn't sure how I was going to handle it. And of course, Thanksgiving was like the weekend that Smart Points rolled out, and the apps weren't working, the websites were down. It was a big old mess. And I told myself then, and I've kind of stuck to it through now, I don't generally track on holidays. I only eat one plate of food, and I make the best choices possible. I tried, like at Thanksgiving, I filled half of my plate with a salad and then ate little bits of everything else. That way I don't feel like I'm deprived. And my other big tip is I brought a big hearty salad. I always bring something to a holiday gathering or a 4th of July barbecue or a family dinner. I always bring something hearty that I know I can eat. I know the points of it. I know what's in the dressing. I know all of the steps so that I can make that my main point and just eat a little bit of everything else. That's what works for me. I don't feel deprived. I feel like I am not sitting in the corner eating a salad all by myself. Of course, right now is a little bit harder. I am fully vegan right now, which I love, by the way, but it is making, my mom is having dinner with my nephew and asked if me and my kids wanted to come over and eat. I'd already planned dinner, so we're not going to. But it's hard for me right now because there's so many things that I don't eat, and I wouldn't want somebody to change their whole menu for me. But overall, that's what I do for holidays. I just try to make the best choices possible, and I try to eat at least 50% of my plate as fruits or vegetables. One Day at a Time asks, are you going to continue the Smart Points program after you reach goal? Well, any of you who have watched my Weight is Enough Wednesday from last week know that I have actually hit my Weight Watchers goal. I have not hit my ultimate goal yet, and I'm not quite ready to stop losing. And I think at this point, I'm just going to continue and lose weight until I am completely happy with the process and where I'm at. So for now, yes, I am going to stick to Smart Points. Even though I'm having a really challenging time with it in conjunction with the veganism, just because I'm finding that I don't really need to track. I still am, but I'm finding that 3 meals of foods that make me full are all that I need during the day. So as of right now, yes, I have met my goal. I am still working Smart Points, and I'm pushing on and moving forward. Pink Butterfly 77 asks, have you done Weight Watchers before in the past? If so, what is different this time? Are you enjoying Smart Points better than Points Plus, and was the transition from Points Plus to Smart Points difficult? This is actually the first time I have ever done Weight Watchers. I have tried Atkins, I have tried the South Beach diet, I have tried Slim Fast, I briefly tried Herbalife. This is the first program that I've ever stuck to for more than a couple of weeks. I have been on Weight Watchers for 16 months. And are you enjoying Smart Points better than Points Plus? Yes. I enjoyed Points Plus a little too much. I lost a lot of weight, but right before Smart Points rolled out, I got to a point where I felt like everything I was eating was crap. When I first joined Weight Watchers, I got rid of all of the junk food in my house. I focused mainly on proteins and fruits and vegetables, and then I got sucked into this world of YouTube where I started watching tons of videos with grocery hauls and food finds and little snacks and treats that I would never have even thought to point out in the grocery store because I figured they would be too high. And I got to the point where I was eating like 2 or 3 Fiber One bars a day because they were only 2 points. I was eating just a lot of processed, unhealthy foods, and I was ready to give up on Weight Watchers at that point. Then Smart Points came out, and I immediately felt better. Smart Points still allows you to eat anything you want, but it focuses mostly on healthy foods, high protein, low fat, healthy choices. So the transition for me was really easy and actually very rewarding. Pam Kemper asks, what is one thing you really like about the Weight Watchers program and what is one thing you dislike about it? I'm going to do my dislike first. I have managed to make it work, but I dislike, of course, my number one dislike is that Weight Watchers has this controversy with blended fruit, and I'm not even going to get into that right now because it makes my blood boil. I just don't understand it. So that being said, my real number one dislike about the program is that things that like healthy fats, olive oil, avocados, nuts, things like that are so expensive in points. When you get to a point when you only have 30 points in a day, do you really want to use 4 points out of that for 1 tablespoon of olive oil or 7 Smart Points of coconut oil? I think that those are things that your body need to run properly, if you get my drift. And Weight Watchers has made them so high in points that people don't eat them. And they don't feel good because of it. And then they think that the whole Weight Watchers program is not any good. And they give up because they don't feel good. I have a friend who joined Weight Watchers and she's constantly constipated because she doesn't get enough fat. We tend to stick more to things like low-fat yogurt, fat-free cheeses, things like that. You're not getting any fat in your diet. And she's always got a tummy ache. And I don't want to be like that. One thing I love about Weight Watchers, first off, is that it allows you to eat anything. You want pizza? Eat pizza. You want ice cream? Eat ice cream. You can have all those things in moderation as long as they fit into your points, but I like that it gives you the option to find smarter, healthier choices. Instead of eating a whole cup, which isn't very much, of spaghetti or pasta for 6 points, cups of spaghetti squash, and save yourself those points and have a nice salad on the side or a little bit more high protein meat on there or those kinds of things. So that's the thing that I like, that you can eat anything you want, but that it teaches you how to make smarter choices.
What was that sound?
It was just Mimi, honey. Okay, Kaz's journey. Hi, Kaz. She is great. She's been a subscriber for a long time, too. There's an apple right there. She asks me, what are some of your favorite low point snacks? Of course, that's changed a bit right now because of being vegan. So I'm going to show you some of the treats that I liked before I was vegan, and then I'm going to give you a few that are vegan. Okay, so my number one snack being vegan has definitely been fruit. Being vegan and limiting so much of the food that I eat, I've actually allowed myself to eat a lot more fruit. When I was doing just regular, everyday Weight Watchers eating, I was limiting my fruit to 3 servings a day. I still don't go crazy because Fruit is very high in sugar, which sugar turns to carbs, carbs turns to fat. But I have allowed myself, I'm not eating dairy, I'm not eating meat, there's just a lot out there I'm not eating right now. So I am allowing myself to eat fruit. Grapes are my number one favorite. I have started portioning them out. I like to keep them in the fridge because I like them to stay cold. I have started portioning them out in these 1 cup baggies, and then I put the whole thing in a bag like this. So I bring them home from the store, I wash them up, I put them in the bags, and I eat them throughout the day. And they're sweet, and they're crunchy, and they're cold, and they are my favorite on vegan Weight Watcher snack. They're probably my favorite snack anyways. But off vegan snacks, or snacks that I would eat anytime, I like to fill my snacks with high protein. Hard-boiled eggs. This is my favorite cheese stick. This is the Weight Watchers smoked string cheese. These are 1 point a piece, so nice and low point. These are torturing me, by the way, in the fridge. These are the pumpkin pie, but I like any of the Dan & Layton Fit Greek yogurts. These are only 2 points a piece. They have 12 to 13 grams of protein. Throw a little Cool Whip on this, or even a little granola, or the Kashi Go Lean cereal. Nice and crunchy. 2-3 point snack. Fills you up, allows you to feel satiated. I used to eat these a lot as desserts. Most of them, like the strawberry cheesecake, or the chocolate raspberry one, or this one that is staring me in the face. They're just nice and sweet, and are enough sweet. Add a little Cool Whip on them, and they taste like a dessert. We all know and love the pea snaps. These are nice and crunchy to eat instead of chips, to eat with sandwiches or something like that. Okay, and probably my last snack. This is why dairy wasn't necessary, because I ate a lot of dairy, but I found it filled me up. I didn't realize that a lot of that was gas and bloating, but not to turn anyone away from dairy. This was just me. I've always known that dairy made my stomach upset, but I've always eaten it because I loved it, and I didn't have a reason or a challenge or an excuse to not eat it. So the Laughing Cow cheeses. I am not a big fan of the queso one, but that's just me. I don't care for the flavor of it. Any of the other ones are amazing. This one is my favorite. This is a new flavor. It is creamy Asiago. I like to put this on celery. I like to put it on a spoon. I like to put it on bagels. Use it as a mayonnaise on sandwiches or wraps, or on a rice cake. They're really great. They're little wedges if you don't know what a Laughing Cow cheese is. They come in wedges like this. It's a very soft cheese. And all of them, from what I know, each wedge is only 1 point. So the last question I have is from Melissa Manuel. She says, I think I'm stuck in a plateau. I have lost 65 pounds on Weight Watchers since February, and for the last month I have been losing and gaining the same 2 pounds. Any tips to help me break free? I started at 234, and now I am between 169 and 171. I work out regularly, and I am lowering my points on several days of the week, and I don't eat a lot of carbs or fruit. Love your channel. Melissa, plateaus are so hard, and the biggest advice I can give you is just to keep trusting your program. Keep pushing, keep working, keep doing your best. Start taking your measurements so that you can see that even though you're not losing weight, that your body is changing, and maybe try a challenge. Okay, so I only have 3 minutes left. My phone is out of memory. So, Melissa, you don't have to go vegan, but accept a challenge. Do do something that your body would not be doing. Maybe cut out meat for a week. Maybe cut out red meat. Maybe just cut out dairy. Try different things. Experiment. I was petrified during my plateau to change anything because I was afraid I would gain weight. But I wasn't losing it anyways. So now looking back, I'm not so sure why I was so scared. Because if it had made me gain a lot of weight, I would just not do it the next week. But don't be afraid to challenge yourself, to try new things, to experiment, change up your workout routine, and just keep pushing forward. It's really the only thing you can do. There's no magic out there. This is a process, and sometimes our bodies just need a break. You've lost a lot of weight since February, so in just 6 months or so, you've lost 65 pounds. I will tell you the advice my doctor gave to me. He told me that sometimes, no matter what you do, your body is just fighting for a break. It's saying, okay, you need to let me get used to the new norm before you can change it anymore. You have to just kind of accept it. I think more of it is a mental game than anything else. Take a break, take a step back, keep working out, keep doing things that are healthy, but your body may just need a break. You've done great work. I'm so proud of you. But your body just may need a rest. It could take 6 or 8 months. But just give yourself the time it needs to reboot. That is it for questions, guys. Thank you so much. I hope everyone's having a great day. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Say bye.